Hello and welcome back to this week's podcast. I hope you've had a brilliant week. If you have, let me know. I'd love to hear your stories and what's working for you. By the way, I always love people sharing insights with me or thoughts with me about what they think to the podcast as well. So reach out to me directly on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or whatever works for you and share your thoughts on the podcast. It's always great for me to make sure that people are listening to it and loving the ideas and the content that we're sharing. So look, this week, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the importance of building your own brand and why that's so important in sales and business. And it's really important because you might think, well, you know, you would say that, James, because you've got a podcast and a YouTube channel and create content and whatever else. But I want to just talk about some other background factors towards building your own brand and then what you can do to start getting in a position where you can then start to build a brand and also to overcome the common thing that you're going to tell me right now, which is that, oh, I don't want to do that. I have either nothing to say, or I don't want to say it, or I don't want to appear like a narcissistic arsehole, which is what a lot of people think that building their own brand is about. And we're going to cover off those points and make sure we've covered them. But let me talk a little bit about why I think building your own brand, personal brand, is important. So for a number of reasons, but firstly, mainly because of the world that we're moving into now is obviously very much in 2024. I'm recording this in August 2024. We're moving into an AI featured world, if it's not already AI related, and robots and so many things that, automation and technology is changing so many elements. And I'm a massive believer that the last thing to go will be human beings. So in time, we probably will be run by robots, but hopefully it'll be when I'm, past when I'm gone. But kids and family members that are younger than me will have to go through this. But the way the world is changing, we are going to become more robotic and more focused on artificial intelligence and in automation and those type of tools. And yet, I think the one thing will still stay is humans, and the ability for a human to be able to share a story or to recount a personal moment or to share some advice and some thoughts will continue to be. And as more and more computers do become the norm, so stories and human connection will stand out. And so I think, firstly, for the reasons that, if you want to make sure that you're building a career for the next 5-10 years that's visible, building that brand is the way to do that, to avoid basically the world being taken over by robots, everything that's on the internet and the way we connect with our devices to just be about stuff that's created by robots. So having those stories, I think, is really critical and crucial. And for you as a human being, I'm going to ask you the question: what do you might tell me that you prefer to engage with robots, but in which case then maybe the people you're talking to aren't that friendly or engaging. But most people would rather have a human to human conversation. They rather talk to a human being, engage with a human being, do business with humans. And the best way to be able to do that is to understand people and to know who you're talking to and to get a sense of familiarity. So many people follow people on social media because they follow their stories and their life and they want to see what's going on. And it's going to go more and more in the business world. I think that people are going to want to see what you do and how you do it and what you stand for. So firstly, I think it's around the world that we're going into around sort of robots and humans. But I also think it's a brilliant chance to build trust and credibility. And look, when we're in sales, I've talked for a long time about the 4 phases of sales. Phase 1 is problem or desire. Understanding is phase 2. Belief that you can solve the problem is phase 3. And then trust is phase 4, which is, do I trust this person? And, for me personally, I've been building not as much a personal brand, but I've been growing my awareness of what I do through my podcast and through my YouTube channel and through videos and LinkedIn profile and every area for the last 5-6 years. And I've been growing that, and it's a constant drive to do that. But when I have conversations with people who say to me, "Oh wow, I've listened to your videos, listened to your podcasts." I've actually had conversations. You might be listening to the podcast now, thinking I'm one of those people. And I spoke to a couple of people, a couple of weeks back, where they were like, "Oh wow, I'm speaking to you. Wow, you're the person that does the podcast." Like, yeah, I'm real. But what it did give them is a huge amount of trust and credibility, and they felt like they knew me. So I did some work last year for a company where the sales manager said, "I felt like I knew you. I felt like I knew you before I had a conversation with you," and they were pretty much in tune and comfortable with the figures that we put in place for the training that we offered, because they knew who I was, because they'd watched a number of my videos and what I do. So it builds trust and credibility in what your subject is. Now, obviously, if you mix from subject to subject, then that's going to be difficult. But for me, I've stayed in the lane, and will always stay in the lane of sales plans, business growth. How do you make the tills ring in your business? How do you get people buying your stuff? That's the area that I'm good at. And I link to different areas around that, around sort of emotional intelligence and people's skills and soft skills and techniques to do it. But it's all around sales and making business come into your business and building plans to do that. And that's what I focus on. And I want people to remember me for those elements. And I get credibility when people start looking at the stuff I've done and go, wow, this person, does know their stuff. They are able to engage in conversations. They've got, materials that show what they do and how they're capable. And that's going to give them that sense that, you're going to be a person that, or I'm a person that they can work with. And it's the same for you in your organization. And I understand that people will say, oh, well, our marketing team does this, or I'm in an organization where I've got, compliance and I can't do this. I'm not asking you to break rules. I'm not asking you to go against what those people will say. If you need to get approval by someone else, then obviously, go and get that. But I'm just saying to you, to build your face and your credibility is going to help you in a sales and business situation, so that when people search on you, and if you search, by the way, if you go into your laptop or your device or your phone right now, if you're traveling, if you're on the train or on not driving, and search James White sales, okay, the images and the things you'll get from me are all about all of the different things that I've got out there. So, and the reason I put sales bit to my name is because there is a American football running back. There's a guy that is a theologian called James White as well, and there's also a guy that sells fruit juice. But so I've linked my name to sales, you will get huge amounts of different videos and content around me and what I share. And so therefore, people can consume content and information around what I share and what I do, so that they build up that trusting, that awareness of who I am, to feel comfortable to then want to work with me in time. And creating a personal brand builds that trust and that credibility, and makes people feel that you are real and someone they can then talk to and trust and have a conversation with. So most definitely it creates credibility. It creates a position for you. The key thing around that is what it does is build consistency. So if you again go back to this idea of searching for my name, James White Sales, you'll get consistency around sales plans, sales growth, sales techniques, sales ideas, sales coaching, sales mentoring, whatever. It's around sales and selling. And I sort of become synonymous with that. But people love consistency. And when we think about when we buy things, let's take McDonald's as an example. Do I think McDonald's is the best burger in the world? Not at all. Or the best food in the world? Not at all. But there is a reason why sometimes, and I, do go to McDonald's occasionally. In fact, sadly to say, I know probably some of the gurus over there of food would say I shouldn't, but sometimes I do. And the main reason being, and I have got, I'll let you into a little secret. I've got a penchant, or two things I love in McDonald's. A is their McMuffins in the morning, I think, are very good. So their sausage egg McMuffins are very good, and also their McFlurry ice creams. There you go. I've told you my secrets of what you can way into my heart is those two things, and I don't have them very often. Once every 2-3 months, if that. But I know what to get. So I know if I was in Warrington yesterday, and I knew that even if I was in Warrington, Wigan, Welling, Weston-super-Mare, Waterloo, I'm trying to think of any other places we do with W, West Shields, I don't know. The point is, if I go to a McDonald's in any of those places, I know the McFlurry is going to taste the same. I know that the sausage muffin will taste the same. It's consistency. And buyers, as humans, we love we love sometimes new things and challenging ourselves, but we love routine. We love consistent things. And the point being is this: when buyers see you building a personal brand and see your stories and what you're coming out, it builds consistency in their mind, and consistency helps to sell, because it makes them link you, especially if you can link what you do or your service, to one or two, or a simple phrase or a simple, one or two words. People then make the connections, and in the modern world, people don't have time, to to think of lots of things. That people always say to me, "Oh, I did something last week. People remember it." Are you joking me? Like, literally, people don't remember what they did yesterday, let alone an advert or a LinkedIn post they might have seen 2 weeks ago. So the point being is, it's in your world that you think you've done it, and it was done a while back, that you posted something 4 weeks ago. But that's just literally completely in the mirror. No one's going to remember that. Whereas what they are going to remember is you consistently talking about a solution or a challenge that people are facing, and then people are going, okay, I remember that person's linked to that. So that consistency, and consistency is what then builds that trust and that ability to feel, I feel like this person knows their stuff in this area. Therefore, when I've got a problem in this area, I'm going to be more inclined to think of that person as the person to go to. And to give you an example of that, I've got a friend of mine who is, so if you're a high net worth person here, I've got a friend of mine who works as a senior partner of tax at a big company called Deloitte in London. And Chris is listening to this. Chris, this is about you. But if you're not, you don't need to listen to my podcast, but you never know. Chris is an expert at people that earn a lot of money. He's a high net worth tax expert. So if ever I meet someone that's literally, earning significant amounts of money, and that lives in maybe different areas around the world or whatever else, I'm like, I automatically know Chris is the person. It's for that person because and I've known that because I'm a friend of his. But if you want to build, to be known for something, to build that trust and credibility, and to be consistently known as the person in that space, then you've got to work at doing that. And that's not going to happen from one post every 3 months, or from sending out one message or material to someone and then not doing anything else with them, because people forget things. So building a personal brand, builds that trust and credibility. The other element to building a personal brand is that it works for you whilst you're doing other things. So again, one of the things that's really powerful for me, and if I was to look right now at, and I can do this actually because I've got the details here right now. If I was to look literally in the last 48 hours alone, so let's just take, and I'm going to use this as a good example. In the last 28 days, I'm just looking at a stat here, and I can share the screen so you can see it. In the last 28 days, my YouTube channel has had 6,831 views. Okay, so not amazing. It's pretty decent, and the channel's growing, but there are 6,831 views. So 6,831 people that have seen a video around James White talking about sales-related stuff right now. And I don't know who these people are. They're all over the world. Of course, I don't know all that data. But that's 6,000 people that, nearly 7,000 people that have seen my content because it's out there, it's published, it's online. And I don't know what will happen in time. I don't care if they would never buy from me. Hopefully, if they can gain one idea that I've shared that can help them in their jobs, that's good for me. But the point being is, it's working for me. In that time, if I could never have spoken to 6,800 people. I could have done, in the last month, but it would have taken up all my time, and I wouldn't be able to do anything else. But because I've created content, it's out there working for me. It's out there doing things for me whilst I'm doing other stuff. So creating content as a salesperson, as a business owner, enables you to basically go to sleep and then wake up in the morning and other people have consumed your content or engaged with you. Now, of course, you've then got to be able to turn those views into income and for your business in time, but that's a different conversation. But the point is that happens as a result of you being visible there and putting things in place. So it works for you in that respect. Let me give you another reason why building a personal brand is good. It differentiates you from the competition. In many cases, I know in the sales training place at the moment, I would probably, I'd go as far as say in the UK, which is where I'm based, I would probably argue that in people that do sales training or sales mentoring for business-to-business services, I would probably say I'm in the top 5, maybe 10 people that are doing this sort of stuff. If you had 100 people and you looked at all of their content and materials, I don't think there's many people that do as much as me in that space. Why? Because I just don't think there is. If there is, by the way, let me know. Feel free. There may well be some people. And by the way, I happily consume that content because I learn from it, and I'm always learning from other people. But it differentiates me from the traditional 90% of people that don't do it. And so I'm able to stand out from the crowd. I'm able to get people to consume my content. They can consume information about it. They can build trust about me and who I am and what my businesses do from engaging with my materials and my content. And it differentiates me. It differentiates me so that when I'm up against someone and I was up against someone about 6-7 months ago for a quote for a training project. When I was able to have a conversation with the team and I said to them, tell me a bit more what you're looking for, or we're looking for someone that's got a profile and that's someone that our team can relate to, I was able to say, okay, cool. Well, let me share a few bits of information around, what I do. And they were like, wow, you've got 600 videos, you've got 100 podcasts, you've got 50 resources, you've got, wow. And, being honest, that I overheard one of them saying, oh, we haven't got that from the other person. So the reality is it differentiates me from the competition, which I think is key. And sometimes we have to have those differentiating points in order for people to stand out and for want to buy from us. So look, these are the reasons. Hopefully I've given you enough reasons as to why it's important. Let me talk to you about how you do it and why you do it. And let me deal with the point around, is it about being narcissistic? And, I'm going to use a phrase, apologies if you don't like swearing. If you've got kids around, I'm going to say a swear, it's a bit wanky. Right? Because people say, oh, you're promoting yourself, you're building a personal brand, you want to be a centre of attention. No, I don't. Let me tell you something very, very clear and obvious, and it's something that's about me. And this is actually links into the point around why it's not about narcissistic and just hearing the sound of my own voice. I have one reason why I do this, and that's to make a difference in the world of other people who are business owners and sales professionals, to help them get more sales. Because when they sell more, they bring business in and money comes into their accounts, they have less worries, because money worries are a big challenge for most people, and therefore they spend better time with their loved ones. So my whole mission and vision in the world is to help people sell so that you can spend better time with your loved ones and the people that matter in your life. And when you do that, you enjoy life better. And I'm just one of these people that love to see people enjoy life and be happy with their friends. I'm a giver. And for me, that's why I do what I do. And I will continue to do. I am, closing on the, people say, look at my hair and go, it must be 55, 60. I even had a lady in the gym the other day saying that, she thought, she said, I'm nearly 60 and I think I'm the oldest here. And she looked at me. I was like, wow, I'm obviously got, my grey hairs are giving my age away, but, nearly 50, but in a position where I am sharing what I'm doing. I will do this for the next 20 years because I want to make an impact. I want to help people. I want to support people. I want to get people to achieve things, and if they can utilize the knowledge and the skills that I've gained from reading books and attending courses and learning as I do, and it can help them, then I'm good. And if you're listening to this and you never buy from me, that's okay. I never want you to have to buy from me. You may want to buy something from me in time, you may not. But if what I'm sharing with you can help you win a deal today, win a piece of business, I am over the moon, and I truly mean that. So for me, it's about that vision and mission that I've got is really clear. And when you've got a clear vision and mission, you can then go and do what you're doing and create that brand, because actually it doesn't matter. If someone says to me they dislike what I'm doing, someone says to me, and I've had people say it to me, I've had some people saying, oh, what you share is rubbish, it's no good. Hey, no worries, no fault. I appreciate your view. Hey, I'm always on the path to get better and to learn. But being blunt, I don't care what they think, because it's my mission, it's my vision, it's what I'm focused on doing. And that's what's critical to this. So to answer the point around it being narcissistic, it is narcissistic if you just want to hear the sound of your own voice, if you just want to be out there. And there are some people that are like that. But if you've got a mission and vision that's true to me, an impact you're trying to change in the world, a cause that you've got, and your content and what your branding is doing is trying to help people in that way, then carry on doing what you're doing. Ignore the people that say it's narcissistic. It's not. It's you doing a great job to make a difference in other people's lives in the world. I think that's brilliant. I think people in time will see that. And the thing about creating a personal brand is it does take time. If you want to put something out there and expect to see hundreds of thousands of people following you tomorrow or in a month's time or in a year's time, then don't do it, because I know for a fact I've worked hard on building a personal brand, and I still have people that follow me, engage in me. But have I got the numbers I'd like to get? No. But because, as I mentioned in a podcast a few weeks ago, I focus on the impact I make. And if one person listening to this podcast today or watching one of my videos can think, hey, and apply something that I've done and get a result, I'm good. And when your mission and your vision is strong, that's what drives you, nothing else. And I was with a friend the other day when we were in the middle of Taunton High Street, and there was a guy, he was shouting out in the street, with a microphone, about Jesus and the Bible, and I thought, and everyone was looking at him going, hey, he's a weirdo. He's shouting about Jesus and how Jesus is that, and I thought to myself, good on you, man. His vision and mission to that guy is so strong. He doesn't care. He's going to say what he's going to say, regardless of what other people felt. And I was like, bravo, brother. It's not my thing. It's, appreciate religion is for different people, but I was like, good on you for having the courage to be that way. So look, if you've got a strong vision and mission, it will make sense for you. And the final thing most people say to me is, I've got nothing to say. I believe that's wrong. I believe you have something to say. I believe I sat in a room full of a number of people in the investment community about 7 months ago and said to them, I've got nothing to say. And yet across the room, there was like 250 years of combined experience and knowledge. You'd be amazed at sometimes what people don't know. So if you've got some knowledge and expertise and things you've done, the experience of doing things that have worked in certain ways, of course you need to make sure you've got approvals to share this. And if it's, if you're giving advice, then make sure you've got the right coverage in place for that. But don't feel you haven't got something to say. We've all got things we've achieved and we've done and knowledge we've got. And I challenge anyone, if I challenge you now to write down 10 things that that people may not know, whatever your industry is, I bet you that there are people in your industry or space that don't know some of the things that you're doing. Or maybe there are people that are new to that industry that don't know it. Or there's people that, have come from a different industry that don't know it. I don't know, but the reality is there'll be people that don't know what you know. And so therefore focus on, 5 or 6 key themes that you can talk about and then repeat them time and time again and engage them. I say to people that politics generally are won, big political campaigns are won, not by lots and lots of different ideas, but by 1 or 2 consistent ideas repeated time and time and time again. Builds consistency, people trust it, whether they like it, trust it or not, and they buy into it and they work with it. So that's the same for building a personal brand. So look, that's my thoughts on that. And to finish that whole essence off, and I probably appreciate I've gone on a little bit longer than I wanted to. There was a great study that I share with people a lot of time called Google Zero Moments of Truth. And Google Zero Moments of Truth basically identified a number of years ago that people need 7 hours of content across 11 interactions across 4 media for them to trust you to work with you. So if you're in a sales business situation where you're wanting someone to buy from you, my question is, if they were to spend, could they consume 7 hours of content from you and your company right now across 11 different touch points across 4 different media? Could they do that? And I'm telling you, for me right now, you could definitely do it. You could probably spend 70 hours on all of my content. It's freely available to get to know if you wanted to. By the way, feel free. Make my YouTube channel stats go bigger. Make my podcast stats go bigger. But the point being is you could consume over 7 hours of content across over 4 media. So the question is, Google identified that 7114 was the number. So if that's what Google identified, then you got to think, how am I getting enough content and materials and people seeing enough of what I do to make that happen? And if the answer is no, then that maybe leaves you a question as to why some of the deals that you're doing aren't coming through in the way you'd like them to. So look, if you want to talk to me about building a personal brand, have a chat. I'm always happy to share the stories of what I've done and what's worked and what's not worked. If you've got questions, let me know. But I really encourage you, for you and your business, or for you and your team that you've got, yes, get the permissions, but don't be afraid to stand there and be clear about what it is you do, how you can help people. Focus on helping people solve issues. Like have a mission, and I think you're going to find that if by building a personal brand, you can stand out, you can be consistent, you can build trust, and you can overcome the fact that the world's moving to robotics and humans will be the way that we all want to be and connect with other humans in time. So look, I think that's a real great thing for you to do. I'm going to continue building and making mine, having an impact. As I said to you, until I'm in a box, that's what I'll continue to do because I'm passionate about it. So what's your thing? What's your area? What you can do to help people and stand up for yourself, have that strong voice that says, I have something to say here, and go out and build that personal brand. So that's it for this week's podcast. I'm interested to know your thoughts and your comments for sure. But I'm also, as I always try and do, I try and finish with an inspirational story. And I'm going to share an inspirational story. It's a story of life and death story. We're always looking for inspirational stories anyway. But a guy called Ron Hunt. So got to be careful of say that Ron Hunt. There you go, a bit of fun in there. But in 2003, so Ron was working on a construction site, and he had a 45 centimeter drill bit go through his eye into the back of his brain. And basically, Ron Hunt. Everyone would think he would have killed him But he didn't. He kept him. He survived. He lost an eye. And he's, if you search for Ron Hunt drill bit, you will see some interesting images of the X-ray and the photos of what happened to him. But he had a 45 centimetre, which is about that, I'm guessing, sort of size, drill bit that went through his head. And still here to live the tale. So inspirational story that if Ron survived that, which would have probably hurt and caused a lot of challenges, and carried on with life, then what is the issue that you're going through today as big as that? Probably not. So we can deal with Ron, take inspiration from Ron to lead the lives we want and do the things we want to do. So that's it from me. Thank you so much, as ever, for your ears. I hope you've enjoyed the podcast this week and you're going to be committed to building a personal brand. If you are, let me know. But until next week, see you then. Take care. Bye-bye now.